Sympathy for the Devil,
Breaking the Law,
Bohemian Rhapsody,
Iron Man,
Stairway to Heaven,
Space Oddity,
Yesterday.
Rock and Roll All Night.
What do all these songs have in common? You can download any one of them for 99 cents.
But what's missing from the list?
Ride the Serpent, baby.
I was going to say heavy metal poontang.
I just don't want to say it.
Rip and destroy!
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to episode 19 of the Rip and Destroy podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm TJ, and yeah, it's 2026, so I guess this makes it season 2 of Rip and Destroy. Thanks everybody for being here, and but we're not going to like restart the numbering or anything. We're on 19, episode 19.
We're on 19. We earned it. So
Yeah.
there's no going back now. Well, as you may have been able to tell already, today we're going to spend some time talking about our close personal friend, Vinnie Vincent.
Oh
But
yeah.
couple things before we get there. Quick question, just to kick this off. What's the most money you ever spent on a record?
I mean, I've got a lot of records, but I don't think I've ever spent more than $100 on a record, if that. And that includes like some of the box sets that I have.
Okay.
I mean, I've got the Destroyer anniversary box set, but my wife picked that up for me for Christmas, so I didn't technically buy that one myself. But yeah, I don't think I've ever spent more than $100 on a record. How about you?
The same. And that's one more thing for the our wives are the coolest bucket is
Yeah.
that's a kick-ass gift. This is a Argyle Goolsby record. It's his first one called Saturnalia of the Accursed. Really hard to find, not too many of these, and it was the last one I needed to complete my collection. So that was $100. That's the most I ever spent on a record. And the Roxy Music box set, all 8 studio records, $250. But what I never did is I never spent $200 or 225 with shipping on one song. And that's just something to think about when we get into our conversation about Vinnie Vincent, because that's kind of where we're at with Vin.
Yeah, first and foremost, we want to thank Vinnie Vincent for the Christmas gift that he gave to every Kiss fan group and podcast of some new ridiculous shit to talk about. So, yeah, thanks for that, Vinny. And obviously, we are talking about his new, I'm going to put big air quotes around this album,
Okay.
Guitarmageddon, which, as we all know by now, is being sold individually, apparently 19 songs, I believe it is,
Okay.
individually on separate CDs for $200 a pop, plus $25 shipping in the US and 100 internationally. There's some math to be done here. There are a lot of things to consider here, a lot of things to talk about here, including the attitude of one Mr. Cusano with regards to his pricing structure. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to math in my head. I'm struggling. Is that $4,000 for the album and Toto?
Well, let me break it down for you. So, no, a lot of the news outlets are saying 18 songs,
Okay.
and he did list 18 songs, but that was not including "Ride the Serpent," which was not on that list because he announced that was going to be the first single, I guess. So, as far as I can tell, it is 19 songs, even though like one or two of them, I believe. Let's see, I've got the list of songs here, and there is at least one of them that looks like there's two versions. There's a Rocks on Fire, apparently, is one of the songs, and there is a
Okay.
version 1 and version 2. Shocker, there is a version 1 and version 2. Um, yeah. But so yeah, I mean, so it sounds like there's at least 19 songs here, including different versions. But so yeah, let me break that down numbers wise for you. So at $200 a pop for 19 CDs, that's going to cost you $3,800, $3,800 for an album. Okay,
Are
for an
you
album.
are you including $25 for shipping on each one?
Not yet. Hang on. Don't get ahead of me. So apparently they're limited to 1,000 a piece, 500 domestic and 500 international. Okay, I guess that was his plan. So which means so with shipping at 225 in America, that is going to cost you a total of $4,275, and $300 times 19 winds up $5,700. Okay, if you are living overseas. and you're going to invest in this project. Now, with 500 each of those, so at 225 each, domestic times 19 equals 4,275 times 500 means Vinny is going to get $2,137,500. For the international orders, he will receive $2,850,000, which is a grand total. Now, this is including shipping, right? Which is a grand total of $4,987,500 if he sells all 1,000 copies, but that's including the shipping. You know, if he stiffs you and doesn't actually ship them. If he does actually ship them, then he stands to make $3,800,000 only. So that means that per single, he stands to make 200,000 bucks for each song if they all sell out. Again, if he takes the money and never ships them, that's $262,500 per song.
200 bucks may sound like a lot of money to spend on one song, but in all fairness, they're signed. And I guess by the end of it, you'll have
Oh,
19 Vinnie Vincent signatures. So there you go.
well, there you go. There's your retirement fund right there. They're clearly going to appreciate in value.
Exactly, exactly. Well, this is the model that I guess we learned from the Wu-Tang Clan, who sold one CD for $1 million. So, so here we have it. Heavy metal Wu-Tang.
Yeah, heavy metal Poontang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Oh man. Well, that's
So, I
just
mean,
it.
where do we even start with this? Because I mean, Gene's vault, Gene Simmons' vault was only 2 grand, and that was 10 full-length CDs, and you got like an actual vault and like an action figure and like some leftover socks from the 70s. I
Socks.
mean, well, there's no
Yeah,
Vinnie Vincent socks in this package,
I've
so
yet to see a single Vinnie Vincent sock.
right,
Yeah, and you got to hang out with him. He'd sign whatever you wanted. It was a whole
right,
experience. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's just a taste of what's coming up. But before we get to that, a little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, Happy New Year. And then before we get into it, just a big thank you to our friends at Hey Man Nice Kiss Shirt. Because if you haven't seen it, they did an episode recently where they kind of had some fun with an idea that TJ had about Dress to Kill being a concept record. But they took it to the next level. They turned it into a board game. It was hilarious. Love that show. Love you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. Thank you guys for the shout out and the glad I could be a little inspiration for one of your episodes. Yeah, I don't know, those guys are fun, and I think we're gonna have to collaborate with them on something at some point.
Definitely, definitely. Well,
I think it's in the cards.
this is an official invitation. Get in touch and let's have some fun.
Yeah, man.
Very cool. Any other housekeeping before we dive in?
I was going to talk a little more about the whole Kennedy Center honors thing. Which is making me rub my temples even more than Vinnie Vincent at this point, because it's become an even bigger mess with Trump sticking his name on the thing, and now artists are canceling their appearances and saying they're never going to play it again, and just what, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So no, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I think not talking about it says everything.
I think so. Yeah, Kiss
Yeah.
got their award, and let's move on.
Let's move on to Vinny.
Yeah,
Well, I kind of want to start this off. I want to start it and end it with a little bit of praise. It'd be really easy just to pick it apart from 1,000 different angles. But the truth of the matter is, I've been a fan of Vinnie Vincent since Lick It Up, because when I got Creatures, the first record that I got of Kiss, the first Kiss record I got, I didn't even know Vinnie was on it. I think a lot of people didn't know right away that he was on it. But I've been a Vinnie fan for a really long time. I dig his songwriting, I dig his playing, and I've been rooting for him, especially when he did the comeback in 2018.
yeah.
But it's been really hard to keep rooting for him. He makes it very difficult. But I've been trying. I've been trying.
Yeah, no, I've actually always been a fan too, and I think as much as everybody has things to say about him, and obviously, he deserves just about everything that he's getting as far as backlash. At the same time, I think it's pretty much universally also recognized that he has always been a great songwriter. He's a great songwriter. He's a talented guy. I mean, Kiss even brought him back, tried to bring him back in the 90s, to help with Revenge because they recognized his talent. So, I mean, obviously there's something there. But yeah, like you say, man, it makes a lot of his other actions make it really hard to keep supporting him. But we all, I think we deep down we all do want to root for the guy, but Also, we really like him to get his shit together.
Yeah. I think what we're going to be talking about today is kind of Vinny unchecked. And Vinny was always at his best when he had like governor, a filter, when he was working with Gene, even when he worked with the Bangles, there was something else there that together they could take his talents and craft it into something that was really amazing. But left to his own devices, booking conventions, doing box sets, putting out music, I don't know. I think he could use a partner.
No, I think you're definitely right because if you go back and listen to some of the things that he released that were just kind of like works in progress or demos or whatever, like the Euphoria EP or apparently some of this new stuff that he's posted a couple snippets of. Yeah, the first thing I thought of was, man, he needs a producer. And I do feel like if somebody could wrangle him in a little bit, then yeah, it could really be something incredible. But yeah, left to his own devices, he's kind of a Tasmanian devil.
And he plays like one.
Yeah.
Well, looking back through his career, he was very successful. He was a songwriter. He worked on Happy Days. Eventually, he was working with Kiss. Everything's going really well. He's writing kick-ass songs. Things went south with Kiss. He kept the momentum going. Vinnie Vincent Invasion did the first record, the second record. And there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes then, but this was the 80s. We didn't have the internet, so we didn't really know. So it sounded like, and it looked like things were going great until one day when I'm in Target and I couldn't afford magazines, right? So I'd go to Target and I'd read Hit Parader, I'd read Metal Edge, and I came across a full page ad for Vinny's box set. I'm like, oh, cool. Vinny's still making music. It's cool ad, cool picture. And then rumor has it, a lot of people paid for it, and that was the end of it. And I think that looking back, that was kind of the first clue that things were heading in a different direction for Vinny in his career.
Yeah, I believe that was 1997 when he started soliciting pre-orders for this box set that was supposed to be 6 cassettes. And I think it was all like just demos and unreleased stuff and working pieces. And yeah, I was trying to find out exactly how much he charged for that set, and I couldn't actually find, a price that he was actually charging for the box. But that was 1997. It is now 2026, and ain't nobody got that box set yet.
And in 2018, when he did that big convention, he addressed it. People were upset. He addressed the question and said, "You know what? I'll make it right. You'll get two box sets." And nothing.
And I think there was another interview with him, I think around 2019, where he said, well, the thing that's really holding us back is, I just don't have the funding to complete the set. And it's like, well, I thought you had the funding for the set back in 1997 because he took everybody's money. But then he was also talking about how instead of 6 cassettes at that point, he's like, this could span 20 CDs and it's going to come out on vinyl as well because I just have so much material. And so I don't even know what form he thought it was going to take or what kind of funding he thought he was going to get to complete a project like that at 20 at 20 CDs, let alone what that would look like on vinyl. So yeah, the box set wound up being this mythical unicorn that to this day we still have nothing but a mock-up of the box itself to show for it.
The Vinny Vault, 20
Yeah.
CDs. And I think it's this reoccurring theme of Vinny getting really excited about something and introducing it to the whole wide world and not following through. There's the box set, there's, reunion tours with Robert Fleischman, there's convention appearances, there's, his Nashville parties that half of which get canceled. And I remember in 2018 when he was doing the convention appearance, he started to play acoustic. It was interesting. It was not bad. It was not great. But then Robert Fleischman came on, helped him out. They sang a song together. And then Vinny couldn't help it right there in real time in front of the world, in front of the whole convention. He lays out the next 5 years. He's like, reunion tour, let's do this. We'll do a convention in 6 months. And he's asking Robert right there in front of everybody, are we in? Are we going to do this? Robert's like, it's just a song, man. And then, of course, none of that came to light. So I think he gets excited on the front end, and I think the follow through is a little lacking.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he also has a history of, uh, you know, trying to sell guitar picks for $5,000. Like he's got these delusions of grandeur that his his shit is worth gold, and it's just not. I mean, you know, he still has a website where you can order some of this stuff, and it's absurd. Some of the prices that he wants for anything, and supposedly he's asking $300 for an autograph at a convention and $100 for you to take a selfie with him. And I mean, it's he's got this history of doing that, and trying to come up with a proposal for a CD that he's going to sell at a convention for $500. Like I don't I I get the feeling that he like I kind of get the feeling that he comes to these points where he like really needs a bunch of money and decides that he's going to make $1 million by selling 14 CDs or something, and it's like a get rich quick scheme, but nobody's falling for it anymore, man.
Yeah. I remember that convention he did a couple years back. I think it might have been in Detroit. He was there, Bruce Kulick was there, and Ace Frehley was there. And it's
Oh,
the one,
the Creatures Fest, yes.
yes, and he was actually
Infamous.
gonna play a set where they redid the whole Kiss set from Rio in '83, which sounded really cool. He didn't do it. He did show up. He soloed for a bit. I think that was pretty much it. But my thought was Ace is gonna be there, Vinny's gonna be there. It'd be super cool to go out, meet them both, and get my history book signed. And ended up not going. After the fact, I saw pictures from the convention, and I kid you not, the sign on Vinny's table said like $300 for an autograph. Unless it was Kistery, then it was $1,000. So, needless to say,
Yeah.
I would have been a little bit disappointed had I gone out.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that was an absolutely infamous appearance by Vinny. They did recreate the tank turret at least, or maybe it was a miniature version. And yeah, Bruce and Ace came out, and it looked like it was going to be fantastic. But yeah, it was Vinny standing on top of the tank the entire time. He started off just shredding. Like nobody even, I guess it wasn't even announced that he was starting. Nobody knew when the show was going to start, and everybody just heard this horrible racket from inside the room. And oh, Vinny's out there just playing his tits off. So, and he just stood on top of that tank turret the whole time. And eventually, Bruce and Ace came out, and they tried to muscle their way through a few songs. And I think they had a drum machine backing track. And yeah, apparently, it was a big mess. Vinny and his crew were very adamant that there was going to be like zero filming or well, not filming, but videoing on phones, cell phones, or photography. However, of course, because people weren't going to put up with that, you can actually find audio and some video of this debacle on YouTube if you look up Creatures Fest. And Ace and Bruce did their best to be professional and muscle their way through it, but their frustration was palpable. And I think you know, was it cool that the three of them, made an appearance together? Yes. Quality wise, I think it's best left to legend.
I feel the same way about that vault appearance he did with Gene. I think it's amazing that they got back together for the first time in 20 years after all the lawsuits and all the chaos. I think that was really cool. But when they tried to play together, it was just nothing happening. It was 20 minutes of them trying to tune and trying to get something together. And seeing Gene play, he's pretty good guitar player. Vinny, I'm not sure what he was thinking with that one. But one thing I forgot to mention about the 2018 appearance at the convention with Robert Fleischman is Vinny said the funniest thing in the world. He's talking about let's get together and do this convention in 6 months. And then he says, and I quote, "You would be hearing history for the first time," which is the most Paul Stanley thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's true.
Yep, you'd be hearing history for the first time.
Love it. So that brings us to 2025, sometime right after Christmas, I believe it was, when Vinny finally announced his new album, Judgment Day, Guitarmageddon. It's a word that we've heard thrown around for quite some time, and apparently now it's real, kind of. So, as I mentioned, what the concept is apparently around 19 songs, and they're supposed to be sold on individual CDs, CD singles, one song per disc, for $200 a piece, signed and numbered apparently. And he said that he will not release it if all 1,000 copies of each single are not pre-ordered.
Mm.
Which makes me think that he's not even going to get the first one out. And the first one is apparently the song "Ride the Serpent."
Which brings up an interesting point because I have a theory. and tell me what you think about this one, but every time something like this comes up about this project, I don't think it exists. I don't think there is an album. I don't necessarily think there are finished songs. I was surprised to hear the two that we did. And we'll talk about those in a second. But I have this theory that he probably has bits and pieces in the archives from the 80s and a lot of the stuff that he did with Robert Fleischman in 1990 that at some point he'll get it together and polish it up. But I don't think he's done anything new since then. I just, until I'm proven wrong, I just have to suspect that these things don't really exist. And maybe that's why I'm not going to release it unless I sell every one. It's unlikely that he's going to sell every one.
Oh, definitely unlikely, and I think he knew that from the outset. But that's an interesting theory, but I don't know that I agree with that. I think he probably does have 19 songs ready to go. I mean, he's got 19 titles, we know that. But I think it does exist. I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt there, but I'm still just baffled as to why he would think this would have any chance of success at all. And then when somebody called him out on it, not even somebody didn't even call him out on it. So what happened was on Facebook, a fan, you know, came out and said, "Look, Vinny, I love your music and I want to support you, but this is just impossible. This is just not it's not feasible." And Vinny doubled down and got super shitty with the guy. I've actually got like the whole thing printed out here. I don't know if you want me to read it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Give us some highlights.
okay, sure.
Well,
So I
but
mean,
before you jump into that, let me just point out
yeah,
the fact that if that guy was interacting with Vinny on Facebook, then he paid $200 to be a part of that because you have to pay $200 a year. So this is a fan. This is somebody who's got skin in the game.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if his Facebook page still works that way or not. I don't even know. But this fan, I mean, I'll read it real quick. He said, "Vinny, I love your music. I fear, though, that this price will deter people from truly enjoying your beautiful art in this horrendous economy, especially if it will be this way for each single. I was hoping your new music would be released as a whole for a fair industry price, retail price of 18.99 or so." And then he goes on to say, while I don't assume to know your personal life and your needs, that these prices would alleviate any burdens life may have thrown you, which is what I just said about him needing money and coming up with absurd pricing. It's a bit much for us devoted fans who are struggling to justify our electric bills and other utilities to feel normal and still have a monetary amount of cash barely to barely save after we put gas in the car once the bills are paid. I've rooted for you for decades, like we said. Even when you had melted away from society to enjoy your private life, I waited for a hopeful return and will still be your fan. I really wanted to buy a whole CD for a fair price, though. I cannot now. And then he ends up by saying much respect and Merry Christmas. So this is a fan. This is somebody who, is making a genuine appeal for some common sense. And Vinny responded, and I quote, "First of all, consider the analogy to caviar or fine art. Not everyone can afford it." Because nothing says fine art like heavy metal poontang.
Uh,
But then he gets real shitty. He says, "Second, I resent your personal life's needs. Prices alleviate my burdens. Insult. Who the fuck are you to assume such a theory because you can't afford or don't to pay sick or don't I maybe don't want to pay or don't agree with my price? Oh, but you expect fair market price of 18.99. Fair market price? LOL. That was yesteryear. Welcome to the new agenda. Artists can and will set their own standards and rules for the purchase price of their art. That's if there are any or many artists of value left aside from the standard list. We are nearing 2030, inflation through the roof, homeless, etc. The horror list is endless. Yeah, of course. That's why nobody can afford your shit. It's a Mad Max wasteland, Wild West for artists who now have no protection. Blah 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 blah. He goes on to talk about like downloading and and streaming like it's like he's Metallica fighting Napster still. Then he says, my music is intensely desired. I'm a prime target for bootleggers. My price is my compensation for my talent and the music that fans want and wait for. And lastly, it's worth every fucking penny.
mm.
It's the best designer drug on the market, an endless high of pure fire running through your veins. Heavy metal poontang.
Well, to say people have been waiting for his music, that's fair because they've been waiting a long time for that box set.
That's That it is intensely desired because people already paid for it, right?
And the question that keeps coming back to my mind is he wrote some great stuff with Kiss, granted, but he was in the band for 2 years, and that band was very well established as one of the biggest bands in the history of mankind before he was in the band. So why would he ever think his stuff was worth as much or more than Dynasty or Destroyer or Alive?
Right.
I don't get it.
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, he knows, he clearly knows damn well that a pricing structure like this has no chance in hell of selling. None. But if you sold it as an album for 18.99, you know how many you would sell? I would buy that shit. You would buy that shit.
Hell yeah.
Every Kiss fan would buy that because everybody, that's the way you sell, and you would make your money.
I'd be first in line for a signed vinyl for 150 bucks. That's
Yeah.
up to and including. I'd love that. That'd be great. Well, how did he describe the music again at the end of that quote?
It's the best designer drug on the market. An endless high of pure fire running through your veins.
Okay. And I'm kind of straight edge, so I don't really know exactly what that's like, but I have taken a little taste test of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it. Let's start with Ride the Serpent.
For all of his concerns about free, giving your shit away for free and bootlegging and downloading, he did post some snippets of some of the new stuff. Now there was I actually found it. I'm not gonna, you know what? Out of respect for him, I'm not going to do links to this, but I did find it on YouTube, and the person who posted it did put in the description that it was a couple of clips that Vinny himself did post on Facebook quite some time ago. So I think it's fair game. From the sound of it, it sounded like two different parts of the song, or maybe even two different songs kind of smashed together because there's a real abrupt change in the middle. But I'll tell you what I've heard of Ride the Serpent is not worth $200. I'll tell you that. It's kind of a mess. I'll be honest, there's one or two little things I do like about it, but I did not feel the fire running through my veins. I don't know about you.
Well, there's some good things. I think Vinny, clearly, he can write a riff. I think Robert Fleischman can wail. The guy's an amazing singer. I think the sound quality is just garbage. Is if that's the actual sound quality of the CD when you get it, it sounds like you're sitting in a stall in a bathroom of a club where the band is playing. It's muffled and a little garbled. And then I have a question for you. As a guitar player, I need you to translate the solo for me. I'm just a lowly drummer. What's happening there? Because honestly, it sounds to me like he took two or three solos and just played them on top of each other. Like Randy Rhoads could take two solos and make it sound like Mozart. This sounds like five solos falling down the stairs. So as a guitar player, help me out. What's going on there?
Sure, sure. I can help you with that. So what's happening here is five guitar solos are falling down the stairs. That's that's basically what is happening. So you're a better guitar player than you think you are, and
Nailed it.
no, honestly, yeah, nailed it. That's one of the reasons that I think Vinny really needs a producer because yeah, he is not in key. He is not in a time signature. He is not in this fucking dimension when he's playing these solos. He's just wailing over the top of whatever is going on behind him. And yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And again, I do like his guitar playing. I do like his aggression. I do like the intensity that he plays with. I do like some of the weird shit that he does because he does some bizarre stuff. And I've always liked the little noisy guitar. I like, one of the things I love about Randy Rhoads, even though he's an incredible musician, is some of the chaos, some of the feedback, some of the noise that happened in his solos. I love that stuff.
Mhm.
And I love like Trey Azagthoth from Morbid Angel, whose solos are also kind of a mess, but they're also kind of incredible. Vinny's got that capability, but he just, like with everything, he just kind of takes it too far and it veers off into the realm of not making any sense whatsoever.
Agreed. I'm going to do Vinny a solid here and compare him to Mozart in a way that actually makes sense. There's that scene in the movie Amadeus where Mozart just performs his latest piece, and Emperor Joseph II is giving him compliments, but then he says, "But there's only so many notes the human ear can hear in one night. Too many notes." It's the first thing I thought of when I heard it, Ride the Serpent.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I'm not even sure if some of them are notes.
Well, we got another taste. Damn it, Heavy Metal Poontang. There it is. I tried
There
really
it is.
hard not to say it, but we actually
You
got a
had to.
taste of that one too. What are you thinking?
Ah, good God. It's. I mean, I couldn't get through it without laughing. It is. By the time Fleischman is at the end, just screaming "Poontang," I can't. I just how can you just look? It's like caviar. Okay, it's.
It's you can't understand what he's saying. There's no lyric sheet, but all I got out of it was Heavy Metal Poontang and Sugar Walls, at which point I stopped paying attention to the lyrics. And the drum machine is just, it's obscene. It sounds like a Casio keyboard from 1984.
Is it a drum machine again?
Absolutely. Yeah. Even the stuff that he recorded with a drummer back in the day, he re-recorded with a drum machine. He's got a thing about
Oh
drum
yeah, I know
machines.
that. Yeah, the Euphoria EP. Yeah, he actually, yeah, he originally had a drummer and then replaced it with programming. I don't understand that, but
Yeah. But there's one thing that makes me smile, and I've been singing it all day. I won't sing it here. I will spare you. You
oh
have
my
this
God, no,
song.
please do.
Okay, you have the song. You have Vinny shredding. You have Robert Fleischman doing his thing. And then, of course, you have a gospel choir that comes in and sings Heavy Metal Poontang. I can't do it. I'm as off key as Vinny solos, but it's the funniest thing in the history of the world, and I love it. I'm there for it. You know what
Yeah,
this needs? A gospel choir.
are you there for it? $200 though.
Oh, hell no. I'm there for it, YouTube.
Well, and damn it, that's what Vinny's afraid of.
I know. Okay, I'll tell you what. If he puts out a video with a gospel choir, then
Oh,
I will expense it on the Rip and Destroy company credit card.
oh, I don't look. I don't think there is. What was my calculation? $4,275 on the Rip and Destroy credit card.
Fair enough.
Um, no.
Maybe season three.
Yeah. Good God. So, anyways, now that there has been a few weeks of backlash. And by the way, here's something else I want to say. So we took a little time off for the holidays, and we didn't record for we skipped one of our biweekly recording sessions, but we almost got together for an emergency episode when this news came out.
And this episode wasn't supposed to be a Vinny episode. This episode was supposed to be reviewing some of Gene's movies, but here we
Yes,
are.
but here we are. Yeah, and we had to call an audible, and 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 we moved the Vinnie F and Vincent concept into this time slot. So now, after all that, it's come out that Vinny is saying that he is totally okay with not releasing the album because he knows that this isn't going to work. This was reported on Ultimate Classic Rock just a couple days ago, and I will read the part of the article here. Vincent doubled down on those thoughts over the holidays with new comments on his Facebook page. He acknowledged that it seemed unlikely enough people would buy in, but insisted he will not back down from his plan. Quote, there's no money releasing a record like this with bootlegging thieves at my door. Unless I get compensated for my work, the album stays unheard, Vincent wrote. It comes down to this. If the fan support is not there, which it does not appear to be, this record will not be released. Am I fine with that? Absolutely, 100%. He continued, it will be the greatest album of all time, never to be heard, never to be released. If people want my music and think they're punishing me by not buying it because of the price, it matters not to me. They're the ones who will lose out. He also made it clear just how much he thought that those fans would be missing out, stating, in his personal opinion, Guitarmageddon is one of the greatest rock albums of all time. I lived through Meet the Beatles, Led Zeppelin 2, Hendrix's Are You Experienced, Jeff Beck's Truth, Cream, Wheels of Fire, Pink Floyd. The only difference is these albums are generation tested and have the benefit of fermentation of time. But as for impact and perfection from the first song to last, Guitarmageddon is a classic. So, to sum up, we are not going to get another Are You Experienced
Mm.
or Led Zeppelin 2 or Meet the Beatles because y'all assholes won't pay $4,200 to have Guitarmageddon shipped to your house on 19 separate CDs, you dicks.
I think we should have a moment of silence for the album that could have been. I will give him one thing though. I haven't heard it. Apparently, I will never hear it, but I have every reason to believe that Guitarmageddon is in fact better than Meet the Beatles.
I knew you were going to have one. Knew you were going to have one up your sleeve, buddy.
So, like we were saying before, sometimes Vinny needs a manager or producer, some help. I have a couple ideas because, again, I am still rooting for him. I want to see him finish strong. There are some things I think are possible and some things that, as a fan, I would love to see. Watching that 2018 convention footage, I think there was enough there to work with so that if he wanted to do an acoustic tour with Robert Fleischman, do a handful of songs, tell some stories, do meet and greets, that'd be great. I think that would work. I'd like to see him actually do a convention tour for real with reasonable, sane pricing. You're not worth more than Ace to a Kiss fan. And I'd like to see Vinny write a book, about his whole life, his whole career, writing Happy Days songs at the Cunningham's table. That's a chapter right there. The lawsuits with the Whiteface Band and post Kiss projects and things like that. After he left Kiss, he took a tour all the way around the world. I'd love to read about it. I think he should write a book. He's pretty much the only guy in the band who hasn't written a book so far. So just some things I'd like to see that make sense that I'd be more than happy to pay money for.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think I still, again, speak for just about everybody saying, dude, just release the album at a normal ass price. People will buy it. You will make money. I mean, if you're already concerned about losing money on, your current plan, you're a whole lot more likely to make money if you just release it at a normal price. Yeah, whatever, 19 bucks for a CD, 25 bucks, even 30 bucks for a vinyl. Peter Criss did it. He just put out an album. It's 33 bucks if you want to buy a copy. I can get it down at the record store. I mean, people will buy it. What you're doing right now, nobody's going to buy it. So do you want something or do you want nothing? I don't, I don't understand the logic there. Unfortunately, again, it's the delusions of grandeur. It's whatever he's got going on. With that, I do want to say something that I've always said about Vinny, and I'm not, at this point, I'm not being snarky. I'm not being a dick. Vinny clearly has mental health issues. And what I really wish for Vinny is that somebody was there to take care of him and get him the help that he needs. He clearly could use some therapy. He could use some meds. He needs something, but I mean, it's a shame really to see that talent go to waste. And as much fun as it is for everybody to pick on him for all the crazy shit that he pulls, what I really would like to see is for him to get healthy and, like you said, finish strong. And I think that is a genuine concern. And I really wish and I hope and I would like to appeal to anybody who may be close to Vinny, who may happen to be watching our little podcast here. For the love of God, get the guy some help.
Definitely. I have nothing to add to that. That was absolutely perfect. We're rooting for you. My first record was Creatures, so you've been my guy since day one, and I want to see you finish strong, man.
Vinny fucking Vincent.
Well, if you got something to say about Vinny or anything else, or if you have an idea for season two of the Rip and Destroy podcast, get in touch. We have email addresses. You can leave a comment on YouTube. You can leave a comment on Spotify or Gmail. Wherever you want to find us, you'll find us at Rip and Destroy Podcast at Gmail, Spotify, YouTube. Get in touch.
Yep. And don't forget the Instagram, Rip and Destroy Podcast. And I don't know what else I have to say besides heavy metal poontang.
Kill the power, Phil. Kill the power.